I tried playing Red Dead Redemption as a good person. The body count would vehemently disagree. Join me as we track the kill count in the Switch 2 version of Rockstar's epic western. After a company picnic goes horribly wrong, we exchange pleasantries and insults with the first woman we meet because some things are timeless. But redemption doesn't happen overnight. Instead, we spend the next 10 hours playing Farm Simulator and robbing graves. We open our kill count tab by blasting the ever-living heck out of these bunnies. Nintendo would never make a game with such wanton violence towards rabbits. Wait a minute. Teaming up with the Armadillo Sheriff to gun down outlaws could be justified, but then we join forces with Stinky Pete and peddle the 19th century version of crypto on peasants. Robin Hood was a chump, so rather than follow in his footsteps and distribute our wealth to the poor, we immediately lose it all playing poker. When our deception is discovered, instead of doing the right thing and posting a YouTube apology video, we gun down all our angry, dissatisfied customers. I swear, when given the option, I'm following the WWJD script, but redemption appears to be fading fast. Our questionable business practices do net us a Gatling gun, which we use with great efficiency. But our two former associates have scampered off to Mexico. You know what that means: company road trip. Mexico sounds lovely.
Mexico is something you listen to, something you feel. Its stories walk to the rhythm of the chest.
But Border Patrol isn't pleased to see us. And nothing says "Welcome to Mexico" like a hawk flying through a bar. Thankfully, our travel agent is a washed-up gunslinger who connects us to some revolutionaries. Because we're people pleasers, we end up playing both sides of a civil war, which has a nasty side effect of skyrocketing the death count. Murdering and capturing locals, gunning down political enemies. I'm really questioning how many of these kills I can add to the feels justifiable category. This game is more obsessed with Gatling guns than The Last Samurai, but putting one on a train is pretty cool. My favorite memory from Mexico was accidentally blowing my body straight over the gate of an enemy fortification with dynamite. After slaughtering hundreds in the name of redemption, we catch up with our old work buddies Javier Escuela and Bill Williamson. Both are killed, but only one by our hand, so I guess we're going to count that as personal growth. With our Mexican vacation over, we return to America to pick up our wife and kid from their Airbnb. Wait, what? I've been informed I can't retire early with benefits? Instead, I'm forced to kill another member of my old gang. With this much blood on our hands, what's one more? I was offered cocaine by a mad racist professor. This isn't particularly important to the plot, but seemed worth mentioning. I then literally scoped out a bank and watched my rival add one to their own personal kill count. Good for you, buddy. The game crescendos with an assault on a mountain fortress. Finally, I'm robbed of a kill when my old boss Dutch attempts the Assassin's Creed leap of faith, but forgets to check for a hay pile. With our job complete, we can finally enjoy that sweet, sweet redemption by transitioning from a life of crime into Stardew Valley and spending quality time with my son Jack. But the good life can't last forever. My former employers enlist a frankly ridiculously huge posse to cash in on that life insurance policy and gun me down in cold blood. I've died hundreds of times playing games for this channel, but it's never been a plot point where someone else upped their own personal kill count. With John dead, you may think the game is over, but time wipes several years into the future. We play as our son, Jack the Ripper, as he settles the score, tracking down his dad's murderer and sending him swimming with the fishes. Red Dead Redemption is a violent epic with a high death count, but how does this compare to other popular games? As points of comparison, let me remind you, I killed 961 enemies in the original Legend of Zelda, and 144 in Super Mario Bros. In my most recent video covering Luigi's Mansion, please go watch it, I killed over 400. But in Red Dead Redemption, I killed 227 animals and 849 humans, bringing the final kill count to 1,076. I've played 30 games for the channel, and this puts John Marston, and technically Jack, as the 5th most deadly protagonists. They are just behind James Bond from GoldenEye 007 on N64, and just ahead of the Sonic Kill Squad from Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. When you factor in the game length and how much of it revolves around shooting, this feels like an appropriate spot. Red Dead is the first game I've played for the channel that gives you the choice to play on the good-evil spectrum. Sure, in Mario or Zelda, you can go out of your way to hunt down Goombas or Bokoblins, but I'm talking about something more akin to old BioWare that lets you play Paragon or Renegade. John's past seems complicated, but when we pick up his story, he truly does seem to be seeking redemption, if only to live out his days with his family in peace. But this greatly shaped how I played, almost always choosing the lesser evil when given the choice. Honestly, I don't know what bonuses you get in this game by leaning good versus evil, but I think it speaks strongly to the characters that it made me, a typically evil player, choose to show more restraint. This more merciful playstyle in turn resulted in a lower final kill count. Speaking of characters, the world itself is another highlight. The visuals, old as they are, capture the freedom and wide open spaces of the often romanticized American West. Add in a great soundtrack, and some of my favorite moments were simply riding my horse, admiring the vistas and bountiful wildlife. But to heck with coyotes. These things had a personal vendetta against John and went out of their way to maul me. Anyways, another positive unique to Red Dead Redemption is the focus on story missions after achieving our goal. So often games have an overarching quest of killing the big bad boss or finding the mystical artifact. But after achieving said goal, you get a 5-minute cutscene and that's it. Sure, you're often encouraged to go back and complete side content, but the world hasn't dynamically changed to reflect the success of your quest. And once again, I can't fully speak to how the world of Red Dead adjusts during these last story missions, since I did them all back to back. But even having them is an outlier that I found thoroughly refreshing. I understand these epilogue quests, for a lack of a better term, may not be for everyone. They force you into content you may have avoided, like breaking horses, hunting, or spending quality time with a needy child. But I loved this chance to slow down and see what life could have been like for John. And then we get to the ending. It wasn't spoiled for me, but I correctly assumed it wouldn't end well. It made me feel something, which is more than I can say for a lot of games, and I didn't need a "they lived happily ever after." But after spending the entire game fighting for a chance at a new life, it feels bad to have those hopes dashed once again. Seeing your wife's grave and your son treading a path dangerously mimicking your own, it makes it feel like you ultimately didn't change anything. Maybe that's the point. The road to redemption isn't a linear path ending in a storybook conclusion, but instead, no matter how hard we try, our past choices have consequences, and happily ever after isn't guaranteed. I killed so many people and animals, some you could argue for good reasons, others not, and at the end of the day, I don't feel redeemed. But I'm glad I experienced the story of John Marston, and I highly recommend you check it out as well. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one, where we count the kills of another video game protagonist.